NASA Mars mission just launched late today. We'll have a report. Google claims they have a plan for space-based computing, but it leaves us wondering whether they figured out how to pay the NVIDIA tax. More on that. A California startup wants to deploy a capture bag for small asteroids and debris. The global launch market is breaking all records this year, and it's not over yet. A French startup raises 24 million euros for small sat manufacturing. Rocket Lab delays Neutron launch to next year. Firefly had a great earnings report, 15%. We'll talk about that. A recent study indicated in at least one area, travel carbon emissions exceeded the energy use for the entire research team for 6 months. Oh, this is good for a chuckle. I want to get into that a little bit. The private company Land Space in China is prepping for its first launch of its reusable. And it looks like those stranded taikonauts are going home after all. Plus, we may have a guest. We'll see. From the news desk at the Center for Space Commerce and Finance, my name is Thomas Andrew Olson, and this is The Unknown Quantity. As you know, this podcast is brought to you by the Center for Space Commerce and Finance. And what do we do? Of course, you know, we champion and strengthen emerging space startups and space-adjacent enterprises worldwide through advisory, access, and advocacy. Our pitch events and world-class boot camps fortify startups to be better investor-ready. Now, a lot of our work, especially this podcast, is supported by our listeners and fans like you. So just go to cscf.space/support and click that Plains Day donate button. A little in the tip jar each month makes a big difference. My oldest and longest space friend, Michael Lane, who just finished listening to his conch shell, is here with us. Michael, come on in, man.
Hey, how's things?
Man. Good. I hear you still have jet lag.
I'm a little tired. Yeah, I loved being out in Atlanta and Savannah for almost a week, but yeah, I'm paying for it. I'm paying for it a little bit, but it was great. It was a great trip. I was really happy to do it. Kind of some nice downtime. Hardly worked at all, which was a rare change. So
yeah,
cool. It was good. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. And you? How was our show the other day that I still haven't listened to?
That show was actually great. I hope I talked to Sean about this. We're going to have a follow-up program outside our regular show when maybe we bring together a lot of different people who are involved in the AI sector, and we all want to have like a roundtable talk and make like a special show, a special event, from The Unknown Quantity is this, and it's on a different night. And do it for a couple hours and see what comes out of that. I think that would be a great thing because AI itself is having a little trouble. I mean, the criticisms that our guest brought to the table, I think Chip Joyce were really good. I think they need to be considered more. I mean, we did the show because we wanted to help him, increase his audience and his exposure, because I really believe in what he's saying. And I think it deserves to be discussed. And especially when you consider the fact that AI stocks have not been doing so well lately. And the biggest player, OpenAI, is really having a problem. And so they're 350 billion shy of a full boat, folks. And they're not, because they have a big NVIDIA bill to pay. Everybody uses the NVIDIA chips for doing all their fancy stuff. They seem to be the best ones. And NVIDIA is charging like $100 million, to build a center out of them. And so, now I got to raise 350 so I can give 100 million of it to NVIDIA. And I wonder if Google thought about that. We'll get back to that in a minute.
Yeah. I've been really digging into AI. Kind of from a practical sense, I'm going to use it in my company to build out our systems. So I'm going all in on AI, but you're right to kind of point out. Chip is right to point out some concerns. I haven't listened to the episode yet, so I'll jump in there this weekend and catch back up.
And he just wrote another. He has posted another big article like today about some new developments and how programming developments and how it may affect the LLM, the learned language model behind, which is like the piece behind AI. So that we should post that somewhere sooner than later. I just saw it this afternoon late.
Okay.
So I thought I'd talk about it. And so there you go.
Every space company I know is like diving headfirst into
into
AI.
But you shouldn't dive blindly, I guess, is the thing, because there's as with any new technology, it's got its pluses and it's got its dangers. And so and that's been going on since we made spears out of flint. And so this is going to happen. It's here to stay, and it's what we do with it. It's like an old Fireside Theater joke. It's a power so great it can only be used for good or evil.
Right, exactly.
And that choice is left up to me.
Yep.
So this could empower all people, or it could just totally warp their brains.
Sean's got a message in the background. He says hallucinations are real.
Oh yeah.
I regularly have to argue with the AIs because there's so much content around the Earth elevator that I get regular hallucinations because it's trying to talk. It's trying to teach me about the Earth elevator as if I don't already know, but I want to talk about the lunar elevator, and it doesn't. There's not enough content in it, so all the training is lots.
I think my wife Bev knows more about this than I do now. She's been doing nothing but diving into that because there's other things going on in her life, and so she's just like diving into AI. So she's talking with Chat, and she's talking with Grok, and knowing the difference between the two. It's so I'm learning a lot just listening to her. It's so
all right. Well, let's. I mean, Doug starts us off with "Go Blue." Let's start off with that,
and that's our lead story. So let's just go blue, man. We're not talking about blue states.
Nope.
We're talking. Thank God, we're talking about Blue Origin, the real one. They
which is headquartered in a blue state. Just saying.
Yeah. I got something to say about that in a second. But here's the thing. New Glenn finally launched and it also landed its first reusable lower stage booster stage right on time. I saw the clip of it on YouTube about an hour ago, and it landed right on their barge. And I guess they named that booster "Don't Tell Me the Odds."
Yeah, I love that.
Which is clearly a riff on Star Wars, right?
Yep.
And so, but they did it. They hit it. But here's my comment. I got to say this. I mean, great for them. They did it. I hope they do it 1,000 times more, and they get better at it as the years go by. But it took them 10 years after Elon did it.
Well, that's the crazy thing. Everybody forgets that they actually had the first reusable commercial system of this modern era. They beat SpaceX by, I don't know, 2 months, 6 weeks, 10 weeks, something like that. But that Garidum Ferocitor motto, their step by step ferociously. If your logo is a turtle, that's what that's how you're gonna move, right? I love Blue. I love them. Yeah. It's like having a team that you love, but they just can't seem to get to the playoffs. That's what I feel. That's how I feel about Blue. I'm definitely loyal to them, but they piss me off all the time.
I like the old Seattle Seahawks. Yeah.
Yep. Well, that's good. Go Blue. And let's not ignore the fact that it's going to Mars.
Yep.
So
eventually.
They gotta jump on SpaceX, right? Like,
Yep. Yeah, well,
to my
they're using a
knowledge,
bizarre flight plan. It's going to arrive about the same time it might normally. They're like parking somewhere,
yeah,
for about 6 months, and then all of a sudden, those two probes are going to or try their new propulsion system and shoot it out there, and we'll see what happens. It'll be interesting.
yeah.
Because sooner or later we're going to need better propulsion. We're just going to, out in deep space, we're just going to need something that will get us there faster. I
Yeah.
mean, if Elon wants to build 1,000 starships a year and launch them all at Mars with people on them, and you only have a 26-month window to do it, it's like, no, we need something that'll get them there in a month. We need
The,
something bigger that we can tie that thing onto them.
there's some pretty interesting tech out of Marshall Space Flight Center. They're working on 45 days to Mars. They haven't quite got it under 30, but they're looking at a month and a half, which hats off to them. Hope they can pull that off.
Yeah. Yeah, we need more work of that nature on that. But of course,
Yeah.
somebody's got to pay for it somewhere. So that's the
Yep.
other part of the deal. We know how many budgetary woes NASA's had this year so far.
Yeah. I do like this last little quote in here, where they gotta give hats off and kiss the ring for Duffy. So he says, all of this information will be critical to protect future NASA explorers and invaluable as we evaluate how to deliver on President Trump's vision of planting the stars and stripes on Mars.
Yeah.
So good little soundbite. Duffy is still trying to aim to get that NASA administrator role, and this is probably good for him.
And we're getting a nice comment from that cheating hussy Doug Plata, who we're saying this, folks, because we saw Doug on David Livingston's show the other day. I thought, oh God, he's cheating on us. But he says the blue tortoise has chosen the finish line, the moon, which is 70 times closer by round trip than the hare's SpaceX finish line of Mars. So for settlement, who will win? And that is definitely a good question.
It's a very
blue might win the settlement contest up front at first, but it'll become a contest of volume. I mean, if Elon intends eventually to send 100 people at a time, 20 times a year or something, and just keeps doing it in perpetuity, who wins it? Who's the tortoise and who's the hare then?
Right.
And how big is that lunar settlement going to be?
I have a hunch that lunar settlement's gonna be serious. So, and who wins? We do. All of us.
Right.
We win. Right. Doug wins. Tom wins. I win.
Everybody wins.
Sean wins. Everybody wins. Right.
Yep. If it's 10 years or less, even an old fart like me could win. I just my final retirement home. Right.
Yeah.
The lower gravity, I could be great. I could be bouncing around.
Happy to have you, sir.
I could be bouncing around like a young'un of 60.
Yep.
At 85,
Right on. All right, let's move on. We got stuff. Okay. We do not yet have our guests, so that is a little concerning.
Yeah, well, we don't have our guests. And Sean just said, or maybe you did, Michael. Is it push him out the airlock?
Yeah.
Is that your comment?
No, it's Sean's.
Sean's comment. Okay, I'm not sure who he's talking about. Maybe Doug. I don't know. Push him out the airlock. Yeah. So that was. We had a lot of airlock commentary the other day. Yeah. And so very quickly, Google, as you saw, wants to do their own space-based data center. I don't know how I feel about that. I was only half joking about the NVIDIA tax, because at least nobody seems to want to do anything in AI mode without getting an NVIDIA chip to do it.
I do think you should talk about the NVIDIA tax. Like, what do you mean by that? I'm pretty sure I know what you mean, but I think you should clearly
here's what's going on. They're apparently the go-to chip for AI data centers has been the NVIDIA chip. They're just head and shoulders above all the other ones, and they're charging a crap ton of money because I know right as of right now, OpenAI is kind of in trouble. That's why your stock dropped, because they need to raise another 350 billion to have to build their new data centers that they want to build. But 100 billion of that is going to NVIDIA for the processors, and so they're stuck between a rock and a hard place right now. And so unless you're going to use something that's really second rate, Google, yeah, you too will be paying the NVIDIA tax
Yep.
until somebody else comes up with something better that doesn't require that kind of a processor. And I may know a guy in India, but that's a separate conversation. I'll see how far he's gone, and maybe he'll show up at ISDC next year and actually talk about it. But that said, move on from that topic. We don't want to talk. We don't want to get anybody's hopes up.
I'm going to just stick in for a second and say I do not have confidence in the Connex box shipping container style orbital or orbital data centers. I have very little confidence in that, but I do think that there is a place for smaller smaller systems, tailored systems that puts compute power near the source of the data collection system.
And there is a name of that for that. It's called edge computing.
Right. And that I think really does have value. So
yep.
If Google would like switch gears there, I think they could really do a lot. SpaceX is going to do it on Starlink. There's two Seattle companies. One is the Connex style. The other one is the, CubeSat style, which I thought was a fascinating form factor. So there's definitely folks looking at this problem, but no one's figured out the actual solution. So Google's going to get a lot of attention, but my bet is not on them right now.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I get it. Because they have a history of this. They try to do too many things and do them too quickly. Because remember their balloons that were going to go into the upper atmosphere and give quick and dirty internet out there. And of course, the balloons kept drifting into the next county, and they never could get them to stabilize, and so they finally just gave up. As Walt and I predicted years ago.
Me too, right? I have some ballooning experience myself, and it was hard to watch that thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Hey, Aiden's got a question here. I'm just going to pull it in here. Aiden, always love to have you here. We appreciate it. What is one skill the aerospace industry lacks besides communication? I have answers. What are your answers?
Thrust. It still takes us too long to get to where we need to go.
Okay.
So and quick, and we're finally getting to the area of quick turnarounds, but again, that's being led by SpaceX. SpaceX dominates that, and no one else does. So we've got a lot of suppliers out there, in the launch market. 125 companies from startup to SpaceX level, and everything in between that has the capability of doing quick turnarounds, but only one or two, maybe Rocket Lab, has demonstrated that capability.
So far. Well, we're actually, Aiden, we're going to talk about, we broke some records this week on turnaround, so we'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah.
My answer is, you asked about communications. I think communications is the biggest problem. We're really bad industry-wide of telling our story. It's one of the reasons why Better Futures, Liftport subsidiary for communications, exists. It's one of the reasons why Tom does this show through the Center for Space Commerce and Finance. Press releases are an underappreciated art in this industry. But the other skill I would say would be lawyers. We don't have enough lawyers, and I know everybody hates me when I say that. I've said it a couple times, but And they keep saying
where else? Where else but here could you say something like that with a straight face and get away with it?
Right.
You
Yeah.
know?
And we've had a lot of lawyers on our show, right?
The moon needs lawyers.
Yeah.
God.
Oh, Sean's also saying insurance agents. 100% agree.
Oh, yeah.
100%
Absolutely.
agree to that one. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Captives will only take you so far.
What's that? What will?
Captives will only take you so far.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, let's talk about captives. Let's talk about asteroids and space junk captured. See how I did that? Captive by capturing space junk.
Yep.
What do you think of this?
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, what do you think of this?
Captive insurance company. That's
no. I'm saying I switched gears. I'm talking about capturing.
That way, not captive insurance companies. Forget that. Let's talk about capturing asteroids.
Yes,
I'm surprised someone hasn't come up with a capture bag a long time ago.
Yeah,
it seems like in hindsight, it seems like a very kind of solution, but it's It's
Tomlinson's team did try it. That's what they were aiming for. Like, this is not a new idea.
Right. So, but you can grab little asteroids with it or large pieces of space junk. You go through some of these thick areas and just skip in there and start collecting stuff. The big stuff is actually being tracked. I've got this little app on my phone. What's it called again? It's called, I want to share this with you because I think it's vaguely important.
Yeah.
It's called Skyview is the name of it. There's a Skyview Lite, which is free, and there's a Skyview that you pay maybe $2.99 for, $2.99. No, not 300. But and I got that. If I got the paid version, if I broke down and got it, because the free version won't show me where Uranus and Neptune are, but in the sky, but the paid version will. But also as a bonus, it shows you where all the big space junk is.
Right.
And it's actually labeled it and named it and can show you its orbit. And so I saw something once, I zoomed in on it. It has this little, tracker needle thing, and you hover over it and it tells you, pops up what it is. Well, I saw a booster rocket from 1963.
Right.
That's still up there.
Oh,
and
my
so
God.
We know where this stuff is. We know how to find it. We know what their orbits are.
Right.
So yeah, let's get about 1,000 capture bags up there and start grabbing this stuff.
And
maybe some of it will go in a museum, but maybe they're to be recycled and done into something. And that would be a nice little in space, in orbit industry, wouldn't it? You go out with the capture bag, grab all this stuff, take it to a little, semi-automated, robotic, maybe.
cisLunar Industry is already trying to set up a foundry. We had
there you go. That's it.
We had Lee on our show a couple months ago. They're trying to build a foundry. Just bring them stuff to put into it. Yeah.
Right.
I want to point out a couple things. So Joel Sercel, their lead guy, pretty smart guy, taught aerospace engineering at Caltech. So that's in the article for Transastra. What's not here in the article is that he is the most accomplished NIAC awardee fellow. They call them NIAC fellows. He has won 3 different NIAC proposals for 3 different ideas. So he's a very bright guy who's been kind of at this for a long time. That
should qualify him for a Genius Grant.
It kind of does, right? Well, and he's pulled in millions of dollars. I think it was $12 million from the private sector and $15 million from contracts and grants. So he's doing pretty well. I was not paying that much attention to him until this article, but I'm going to be tracking this guy more now. Good for them. Good for them. Yeah,
absolutely. And we just Aiden just came back to us. This is interesting. As we're on this topic, what are your thoughts on using space junk as lunar settlement material for building structures and other systems? Yeah, it seems to me if you're grabbing stuff with a big bag, you have enough thrust at the end of it, you could send it into at least a crash trajectory on the moon. I don't know what you do with it after that. unless you want to soft land it and use it as some kind of pressure vessel, which is doubtful. You can use it. Maybe you could recycle it into something.
I've always thought that the trash contract for the ISS, deorbiting that stuff is insanely dumb. We should be keeping everything that goes to ISS. It's considered trash. We should be keeping it on orbit. Yep. And especially organics like astronaut poop, right? Like that stuff is useful.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So speaking for myself, I need a very large counterweight for my elevator. So any trash that's actually trash, we could use it as a counterweight mass.
Oh, there you go. That would be cool. That would be absolutely cool.
Definitely.
Maybe get that old Atlas booster from 1963.
Yep. I want.
And you can have. So not only do you have this mass to act as a counterweight, but you can do tours. You can charge for tours. Look what it's made of. Look at these old things.
Right.
From Gemini.
Yep. I love that. Yeah, I do that. And I just want to tell the audience, we just got a message about Dallas. He is ill and will not be with us this evening, which is a little disappointing. We were all looking forward to it. Yeah. But we will continue with the normal state of tomfoolery. So
absolutely. Yeah. Dallas Bienhoff is a legendary space architect. That's how I was going to introduce him. And he really is. And so get well soon, Dallas. And we'll get you on another show real soon.
Rescheduled. Yeah.
Absolutely.
But let's come back to asteroid mining for a second. What are your thoughts on that? Right. So planetary resources and deep space industries, we know those guys. They tried it 10 and 12 and 15 years ago. Ridiculously premature. This is Sir Cell's company, TransAstra, is not the only asteroid mining company out there now. Right. There's like 2 or 3 that are pretty well funded. What are your thoughts on asteroid mining, given the context of where we are today? We've got Starship coming online. We've got New Glenn, and we've got so dig into that for a second.
Okay. But the stuff from the original asteroid mining companies like Deep Space Industries that I was involved in. I think I got Megan Crawford, one of her first, professional jobs at DSI.
Her first gig.
So I know they did well as best as they could with the resources they had. But I think those companies at the time were kind of the equivalent of a colony fund. It was too ambitious, way too soon, and we didn't have the proper tools. Mm-hmm. It's like with colony. If I could do that again today, we have the tools to do it with. We have equity crowdfunding, and that was the one thing we didn't have in 1999. We didn't get it till about 2015, actually. And so, but outfits like, there are several space fund companies. Space Fund is using some aspects of what we had thought of and planned. There's a couple other investment firms also. They're kind of looking at that same kind of investment strategy. So it's out there, and they have the tools to do it with, and so they're doing a lot better. And they're getting a lot of money in, and they're making good investments. I would say the same thing is true now with this new crop of asteroid mining companies coming up. There's basically because there's a lot better. We have more options with launch. In particular, we have more technology available to us. Different kinds of robotic technology, AI, the whole business. You can send something to an asteroid now that's a lot smaller, a lot more compact, a lot more capable, a lot less mass, and 1,000 times smarter than you could have sent 15 years ago.
I like your math, and I definitely think, that's why I'm resurrecting the lunar elevator idea, because the tech has moved in the right direction for us, right? And so it's making lots of things. Doug has a really good question that I don't know the answer to. I would like to ponder that for a second, but what is cheaper? Seriously asking, what is cheaper, to source and manufacture things on Earth and then launch on a fully reusable starship, or to collect and process things in orbit? Doug, my answer is currently it is cheaper to launch from, it will be in the next 5 years. Let's just like put a box on it and say 5 to 10 years. It is cheaper to launch from Earth and send a modern widget, whatever that widget is, out into the sky. But I think there's a tipping point, and it's probably pretty far out, 20 years, 30 years out, where that's going to flip. Because in-space manufacturing will be real, and that's going to change the equation. But I think right now, assuming Starship does what they claim they're going to, and I would not bet against Elon these days.
Sure.
So I would say right now, Starship, and then in the future, the economics of a Martian, asteroid, moon, Earth ecosystem will change things.
I'm still sticking with my prognostication that 90% of what's made in space is going to stay there. Yeah. And you'll only be shipping stuff down mass if you like. It'll be stuff like platinum group metals. It'll be things like that, or other types of rare earths if you find them, that can really provide you some hard currency for solar system banking services. We haven't talked about banking much, and we need to start.
You're going to get organs. You're going to print organs on orbit.
Here's the thing. I got two things. First, I'm gonna mildly disagree with you. I think it's a hard 10 years before we flip.
Okay, hard 10. All right. So you think it's before sooner? We flip?
Yeah. I don't think it's going to be any sooner. Just the rate.
No, I said 20 to 30 years.
Oh no, you said 5 to 10 for the other things. It'll start
5 to 10 using Starship, and then 20 to 30.
It'll start flipping in the other direction. I see a hard 10 before it starts flipping in the other direction.
Oh, okay.
And then probably the next 20 will be what you say.
Okay.
Here's what I would do. I just thought about this again. I haven't thought about this in ages. If I was a filthy, stinking, rich multi-billionaire right now today, I would sponsor a prize, like a $10 million kind of an X prize type thing, to the first company or group experimenter who can build a 3D printer capable of building an exact replica of itself.
A von Neumann machine. Yeah.
That's awesome. What gets it going.
Yeah. Okay.
When you have unlimited solar energy and you have a machine that can replicate itself in a specific way, now you've got basically free energy and 3D printers, and you can, make anything you want.
Right.
Out of whatever raw material you put into it. It could be a shovel full of dirt.
Yeah. I love it. All right. Let's move back to the news here. So we were talking about launch earlier today.
Yep. The launch market is huge.
Yeah. Huge.
The launch market this year has been breaking records in 2025. We broke records last year. We're breaking those records this year, and we're still 6 weeks away from the end of the year. Yeah. We're not done yet.
No, it's crazy. I love this. And we've been breaking records year after year after year for at least 5 years straight.
Yeah.
2020 didn't slow us down. We broke records even in that crazy days.
Even Space Launch Delta, the Air Force stuff, they're on track to 100 launches this year.
Yep.
And that's just military stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. So far, 150 launches this year for the U.S. China has broken their record, so it's already up to 70 from last year's 68 for the whole year. Beijing is not slowing down despite the failure of the Galactic Energy Solids Fuel Series rocket. The two nations have contributed to a record-breaking year for global launch attempts. More than 260 orbital launch attempts have occurred so far this year. That is bonkers to me, right? Like we're getting to the point where we're going to have a launch a day.
Yeah.
Uh, Now that's
Probably.
global. That's global combined.
Yeah.
It's not one company.
Not this year, not next, maybe 27, 28 period. At this rate, we're going to see that a launch a day
Yep.
somewhere.
Yep.
I know Israel is planning on stepping things up a lot.
Yep.
Um,
That sovereignty topic that we've been bringing up over and over again is really coming online. Different nations need access to space, and they're going to prove that they can do it without other partners.
Yeah, that's everywhere. It's going all over the world. We've talked about the EU, being all in a tizzy over this now for weeks and months. And in fact, one of our stories later is about a new French startup that raised 24 million euros to make satellites. So they want to improve their capacity of building their own stuff, because they understood the old Scott Adams axiom that if you don't build your own stuff, you're completely dependent on those who build it for you.
Yep.
So it's going full circle. Everything was globalism, and now it seems to be shrinking back into at least a form of economic regionalism in our industry.
Yep. The United Arab Emirates National Space Science and Technology Center was a part of this French program.
Mm-hmm.
That was news to me. I haven't really heard. Like, I know that the Emirates are really trying to bring a lot of stuff to Abu Dhabi and Dubai, but I hadn't heard them reaching into Europe like this before. So that was a little bit new to me.
Well, this is interesting because these guys just said they want to build a satellite a day and launch one a week.
Yep. Crazy. Yeah. Well, you've got here in the Seattle area, you've got both Starlink and Blue's Kuiper system, Amazon's Kuiper system.
Yep.
And
OneWeb's still out there doing their thing. Yeah.
Right. And so the idea of a mass producible factory for spacecraft, it's proven, it's real. There's nothing like that in Europe, not anything like that in Europe. So
they want it badly.
They need it. So yeah, the French kids showed up. They're like, here's a business plan. We got stuff into orbit. It worked. We've got a backlog of a dozen satellites. Let's ramp this thing up and be the powerhouse satellite. What was the old Henry Ford quote? You can have any color as long as it's black.
Yeah, the original Model T.
Yeah. So I mean, I bet you they do a lot of that. I bet you they do very limited customization. It's I think that's good. I think it's a good model. I like to see it.
Yeah. Well, our friend Kwang Han K at Grand Systems does that. He already has a stack on the shelf of maybe hundreds of one-up CubeSats ready to customize and deploy very quickly if someone will just get a hold of him and bam. I mean, he's ready to roll. I always do a shameless plug for him. Great,
I'm hoping we build a couple satellites next year. I'm fingers crossed, but that's my plan.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll be calling him. We will. What is this? Why post? I don't know what you're saying there. Okay. Oh, I see. It was a boo-boo. Okay. All right. All right. Let's move on. We got about 18 minutes, and I've got 5 articles. Is that where you're at?
That's what I'm seeing as well. Yeah. So Rocket Lab, they've delayed their Neutron launch to next year sometime.
Yeah, they're, I mean, they opened their own portion of center. They've been kind of busy.
Yeah.
But I don't. This doesn't surprise me. It doesn't make me concerned about Rocket Lab at all.
Right.
I think they're going to be fine. Yeah.
Yeah. But they're launching from Wallops, so that should be interesting.
Well, this wasn't part of our news program, but State just about 2 weeks ago announced that they want to build a spaceport, and it's kind of in the same part of the globe as Wallops, right? Mid-Atlantic. So versus where we are, we don't have a great trajectory, right? You basically, if you launch from Washington State, you're launching into
Oklahoma,
into polar orbit. Yeah.
Right.
But there's value in having a spaceport in Washington, D.C., just outside of Washington, D.C. There's value in having a spaceport in Washington State. So I think that's going to be a trend that we see more of, especially with the Tom Muratas of the world that are trying to build floating spaceports.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But as for Rocket Lab, I'm not concerned at all. Like they want this new rocket to go well, do what it's supposed to. If they need a couple more months into next quarter, no big deal. I don't.
They said they were more concerned about doing it right than hitting a deadline. So yeah, I get it.
Yeah,
it's not a big deal. But Washington State is going to be vertical or horizontal.
I don't think they've decided. There was a surprise when I told them that a couple years ago there was thoughts about using the Boeing's 787 field, because it is an experimental aircraft facility, and so it's easier to turn that into an experimental spacecraft facility. A lot of people have a lot of concerns about that because pretty much every direction you go is there's people there, right? We are beholden to our geography here. We got mountains on one side, ocean on the other, and mountains on the other side of the ocean before you get into the real ocean. So, the geography here makes our population live where it lives. We don't have a lot of choices there. So I don't know, but here's the thing, right? Israel has to launch to the west. Israel has to launch to the west, because if they launch to the east, they are overflighting some of their sworn enemies, and they won't allow it, right? So Israel has to build extraordinarily large rockets to go the wrong direction, and if Israel can do it, so can Seattle. That's my thoughts on that, right?
And that was a question that Aiden had. Do you think any unexpected countries will develop space capabilities in the near future? Am I the only one thinking North Korea?
Well, that's not the only one. There's a lot of count building. There's now more than 70 space agencies, national space agencies. Brazil a couple of years ago was working on a rocket. I haven't heard anything about that for a while. Our own friendly southern neighbor in Mexico has a space agency that's only maybe 8 years old, 9 years old. They're working on some stuff. Typically, Aiden, developing space countries typically focus on Earth observation first. It's the first thing that's relatively easy, gives their government value by understanding the real estate that their nation controls. And that's usually the first thing people do. Communication satellites are the second thing that people do, and developing space nations do. And the third thing they do is launch. And the last thing they do is send people. So that's historically the model, and that's proven true 70 out of 70 times. So I don't know of anybody working on human capabilities that's not already on our radar. Tom, you have any wild cards there?
Not really, no.
Even Japan is not working on their own system. Although wild card with Honda, right? Honda's a wild card. So I'm gonna retract my own sentence. Honda is a wild card, but for the most part, nobody that you wouldn't expect, nobody that you don't already know of, is working on a human-rated system that I know of. Israel is not. India has one in development. Japan declined it. Europe writ large has mostly stopped working on human flights. They outsource it to us. Yeah, it's basically China, Russia, and us.
For right now, yeah.
For right
Although
now,
India will be next. India will be next.
India, yeah, absolutely. India's next.
Capability right now. They want to launch in a couple of years.
Yeah. India's next for sure. Nobody else that I can think of.
Okay. Well, this is being pointed out. Doug's question. What do you make of the fact that Rocket Lab is spending more money than it's making? Well, I don't know. I could also go with the idea that in nearly 100 years of operation, I've yet to see a commercial airline that's actually made any money. So it's but we've had commercial airlines for 100 years, almost.
Yeah.
And so the thing is, this is not unheard of that a lot of companies, in the early stages, they spend more money than they're bringing in until they finally hit that sweet spot where it flips the other way. Not a lot of them do. There's always going to be a falling out. You and I, Michael, all these years have seen a huge trail of wreckage.
Yeah.
A lot of companies that all had that knee wall curve, and it's only 2 years away, and then they're gone.
Right.
And
so billions of dollars spent in a market that doesn't work. Yeah. I'm actually, Rocket Lab currently has a multi-year backlog.
Yeah.
I remember I've closed out the link, so I can't look it up, but they have a multi-year, I think it's a 4-year backlog. So they're doing what every CapEx intensive organization does. They're borrowing against the future and building out capacity.
Right. These guys are not Maston, for example. They were bootstrapping quite well until they made a fatal mistake.
Right. Yep.
And so as long as the overspending goes, or overspending is less of a problem, in the near term, if you don't have overcommitment for things you're not capable of delivering.
Yeah.
And they have capability to deliver, and they have a backlog of orders. And so,
it's that backlog of orders that makes them sustainable, right? If they didn't raise another nickel, they still have 4 years worth of runway, and that 4 years buys them more time to get more sales. So, I'm not,
And now that they're established, however, and have that backlog and that capability, they don't have to go back to the well, to get more funding. They can get short-term loans from any commercial bank, industrial bank, to build their stuff at a lot better deal.
What I think they'll wind up doing is they'll model what they've got at Wallops, replicate it somewhere in Europe right now, I would bet on England, although I would put it down in in Spain, maybe on the Canary Islands.
Maybe they have
Uh,
a shot because I don't think they want UK involved either. I think they're just as afraid of the UK as they are us, the EU as a whole. And
well,
ESA,
okay,
I think they want their own capacity and they don't want to depend on the UK either. I'm
yeah,
guessing.
yeah. That's why I was thinking Spain. So
Yeah.
I think a little bit differently than you, Tom. I think they're going to go
Sure.
out, get a a boxcar full of money, and build a second factory and a second launch facility. That's what I would do if I was Beck,
Yeah.
because he does have the backlog, and he's constrained by location and spaceports, and he's constrained by production. He does not have the giganto SpaceX production machine, and he wants to build that. So
Yeah.
I think it's the opposite. I think he's going to go raise just a boxcar full of money so
Yeah.
he can go
He
head
can
to
do
head
that.
with
He can
SpaceX.
do that.
That's
Well,
what
interestingly, if SpaceX is not standing on its laurels, that's not a link here today in our news feed. But there was a brief thing where Elon kind of showed off his plans for the Gigafactory or whatever he calls it.
Gigafactory.
Yeah, they
Jesus,
want to produce
that's
1,000 starships a year.
that is insane.
Yeah.
Doug, he is our Dr. Plata. You are our resident SpaceX cheerleader. Give me a thumbs up. You think he can pull that off? 1,000 starships a year? Because I actually can't come up with why he needs that much. He announced he was going to have 1,000 launches a year. We're all betting on that. That's what the Starship Singularity is about. But why does 1,000 new rockets a year? I don't understand that. So,
well, you need something to launch.
Yeah.
If you're launching 1,000 starships a year, then you got to build them.
Well, but they're reusable, so you don't need 1,000. You just need the engines.
But if you're sending most of them to Mars,
yeah, I don't think
that's basically a one-way trip for quite a while.
I think that I wonder if that becomes point-to-point suborbital, which I'm a big fan about. So
yeah.
All right. Well, let's we got 4 more minutes. What's our last article here?
Oh, well, okay. I'm not that keen about any of it. Firefly had a good earnings report, I guess.
Yep.
And so they're riding high and moving on, like a 15% growth rate or something. It's their stock surged because they had their revenues jumped 38%.
Yeah,
and that gave them a 50% surge in their stock price. So they still showed a net loss, but it was a lot less than what was projected. So I guess that spiked their stock price today. That was that. The rest of the stuff is just kind of we throw it in if we
reminding
can.
everybody that this is not stock advice. This is not investment advice.
Yep.
We are not authorized to do that. The standard disclaimers.
Yeah.
But
I'm not Jim Cramer. Go buy, buy.
Right. No, we're not that. But okay. Only a couple months ago, we watched their value go from what was it, 3 billion to 6 billion to 7 billion in a week. So that's pretty cool. I'm kind of happy about that. But here's the thing. Shares of Firefly have lost 70% of their value since their opening day close, and the company's market capitalization has plummeted from 8.5 billion to 2.7 billion.
Mm-hmm.
That sucks. Sucks.
Well, Kramer would say, buy on the dips.
Right. Well, this is a dip. I still love them. Right. I still love them. We all kind of watched that valuation shockingly high, and then no pun intended, falls back to earth a little bit. So that
Yeah.
it's a little hard to watch that, but I still have.
It's good though. It's healthy.
It is healthy, right?
It is healthy.
Yeah.
So I mean, we could not argue about these problems 15 years ago.
Right. There wasn't anything to argue about.
We weren't a $612 billion industry then.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then let's close this off then.
Okay.
Great. Thank you.
All right. Yeah. I'm sorry we didn't see Dallas Bienhoff tonight. I guess best of luck with you, Dallas, and I hope you get well soon and you'll be back with us soon. Okay, this coming Monday, our guest will be Rob Ochenklas. Is I pronounce that right?
Sorry.
Yeah, a founder, engineer, creative director, and explorer. He's like a Renaissance man. He's the founder of AFOCAL, an independent studio, where he's also founded and co-founded a half a dozen companies in the aerospace, energy, design, and consumer product sectors. This guy's all over the place, and he does really well. He's also the principal of private markets at the design firm Collins, where he aims to create a new home for deep tech startup creation strategy and implementation. Sounds like an accelerator to me. Additionally, he's also the editor-in-chief and host of Holocene, a magazine and podcast dedicated to exploring the human experience. And that's our guest on Monday. And on that, for Sean Key and Michael Lane, for the news desk at the Center for Space Commerce and Finance, my name is Thomas Andrew Olson. Keep watching the skies.